Hello friends, myself Dr. Nidhi Darbari on My Education Treasure. Today I am going to explain about the differences between strategy and methods of teaching. The main focus of teaching is to bring about a desirable change in the behavior of learners. It is brought about by the teacher using teaching strategies to achieve his objectives. But traditionally, we have been using teaching methods for content presentation. In order to increase the effectiveness of the presentation, the audiovisual aids are also used. The teaching is much more difficult task. It requires different type of methods, techniques and teaching aids. The selection of these methods and techniques depend upon the nature of the task, learning objectives, learning abilities and students' entering behavior. The learning objectives and task analysis provide the basis for effective presentation of teaching. In order to bring desirable change in the behavior of the learner, the teacher has to employ the devices or teaching strategies and teaching tactics. These terms have been defined in the following ways. Meaning of teaching strategy. According to Collins English Gem Dictionary 1968, the strategy means the art of war or the skill of war. In Encyclopedia 2, its meaning have been given as an art of deploying army so that a specific goal can be achieved. Hence, according to Encyclopedia, strategy is the science or art of planning and directing large military movements and operations. It is very clear that the strategy is such planning or line of action which is related to the working system. In other words, strategy is that skillful planning of the working system by which the objective can be achieved conveniently. Remember that the strategies are never the same. These change according to the changing situations. The word strategy is being used in with reference to wars, but for the last few years it is also being used by the social scientists in social planning, human dynamics and teaching areas. B. O. Smith writes about strategy as the term strategy refers to patterns of act that serve to attain certain outcomes and to guard against certain others. It is clear that the word strategy means the determination of some policy by planning before presenting the contents with the help of which the student's force is faced and the teaching objectives are achieved. In this way, the pre-planning of the lesson is the key to the success. Teaching strategy is the means to achieve learning objectives. E. Stone and S. Morris have defined the term teaching strategy comprehensively in the following manner. Teaching strategy is a generalized plan for a lesson which includes structure, desired learner behavior in terms of goals of instruction, and an outline of planned tactics necessary to implement the strategy. The lesson strategy is a part of a larger development scheme. This definition of teaching strategy involves two aspects: a generalized plan for the persecution of lesson, and it includes desired learner behavior in terms of goals of instruction. He has further explained the meaning of a lesson. It is a part of a development scheme of the curriculum, and plan includes an outline of tactics of teaching which help in implementing the strategy. Teaching strategy seeks to establish the relationship between teaching and learning in view of achieving the objectives. Teaching strategies include broad method of instruction, example elector strategy, case study strategy, programmed instruction strategy. They can be regarded as broad and a way of operation. Hence, every teacher should be skilled in this art of pre-planning. Attention should be paid that the teaching strategies are more comprehensive than the teaching methods. It is because that the teaching methods include only the presentation of content. Contrary to this, teaching strategies include all the aspects like contents, task analysis, teaching objectives, the expected changes in the behavior of the pupil, their interest, attitudes, capacities, abilities, needs, mental level and entering behavior. In the words of I.K. Davis, strategies are broad methods of teaching. Their construction includes educational philosophy, teaching objectives, learning principles, desired activities, feedback, and motivating tactics. Teaching methods. Teaching method is a style of the presentation of content in classroom. M. Verma has defined the term method in the following manner. Method is an abstract as logical entities that we can distinguish between manner and method. In reality, they form an organic whole, and matter determines method analogously as objectives determine means. Content and spirit determines method. The common teaching matter may be of three of literature. According to M. Verma, matter is important for determining methods. They can be classified under three heads: telling method, that is lecture, questioning, discussion; showing method, that is demonstration or excursion; doing method, that is project, role playing, practical, etc. Browdy has stated that method refers to the formal structure of the sequence of acts commonly denoted by instruction. The term method covers both strategy and strategies of teaching and tactics, and involves the choice of what is to be taught and in which order is it to be presented. Method is more general, it includes techniques also. The teaching techniques are ways of implementing a method. Different techniques may be employed within one method. Difference between teaching strategy and methods. Usually, people consider teaching method or system and teaching strategy as one and the same thing. But this is not true. Both have important differences in their meaning. Teaching method is based on the classical theory of human organization, task-centered, whereas teaching strategy is based on the modern theory of human organization, task-centered. The content and the mode of presentation are the main elements of teaching method. The teaching method is determined according to the nature of the content. There can be three methods of presentation: telling method such as lecturing, questioning, etc., doing method such as project method, showing method such as demonstration or observation method. The behavioral objectives and learning conditions are the two basic elements of teaching strategy. The objective determines the strategy of teaching, that is cognitive, affective, or psychomotor. The term strategy has been borrowed from military science or technology, and the method is a term of pedagogy. In teaching method, the task and its presentation are considered important, but in teaching strategies, the behavior and the relationship are considered more important. Teaching strategy employs micro approach to teaching, but in teaching methods, macro approaches are followed. The strategies are implemented by tactics of teaching and methods are implemented by techniques of teaching. The tactics are more concerned with the learning structure, whereas techniques are concerned with the mode of presentation and the nature of the content. The norm or criterion for evaluating the teaching method is the mastery of contents and or the subject matter by using achievement test, while the effectiveness of teaching strategy, the norm of evaluation, is the acquisition of objectives by administering criterion test. The main focus of teaching strategy is to achieve the objective by creating appropriate learning conditions. The teaching method aims at the effective presentation of subject matter to have the mastery over it. If you found the video to be informative and interesting, I request you all to please give a like to the video to motivate me, share it with others, and subscribe it so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get a notification. It is the assumption of teaching method that the teaching is an art, while the teaching strategy considers teaching as a science. In teaching method, the teaching objectives are not considered very important, while these are considered important in teaching strategy. These strategies are also selected keeping in view these objectives. The main objective of teaching method is the impressive presentation, while in teaching strategy, the main objective is to create complete learning situations. Sometimes, some educationists name the teaching methods as teaching strategies. But in that case, the objective of the teaching strategy also changes. For example, lecture is considered as teaching method, but when the lecture is used to achieve some specific objective, then it comes under the teaching strategy. In teaching method, help is sought from techniques, while in teaching strategies, help is sought from teaching tactics. Some teaching methods are also termed as teaching strategies. Example, lecture is used both as a method as well as a strategy. The lecture strategy refers to realizing some specific objectives, but lecture method refers to the mode of presentation of some specific content. In selecting appropriate teaching strategy, task analysis, learning conditions, and learning objectives are crucial factors, but subject matter determines the method through the same subject matter can be used for achieving different types of objectives. The structural approach of teaching. The structural approach of teaching has revolutionized the whole process of education. It lays down the great importance of teaching acts and learning situations. They can be used as the basis of selecting appropriate teaching tactics. Structure is a primary factor in most of the teaching tactics. It has the following advantages for teachers and students. It enables a teacher to select appropriate teaching tactics depending upon the classes of structure involved in the task. Demonstrate the relationship between different classes of learning objectives and different classes of structure. Increase his students' depth of understanding by using the innate structure of the task as a media for presenting facts and incorporating additional facts in students' repertory. Present the information in such a way that it is more likely to be remembered. It enables a student to select appropriate learning tactics depending upon the class of structure involved in the task. Perceive the relationship between the different classes of learning objectives and different classes of structure. Increase his depth of understanding by using the innate structure of the task is a vehicle for learning acts and incorporating additional facts in it to his repertory. Remember the information once he has learnt. It must be remembered. However, that optimal structure of a body of knowledge is absolute but relative and must constantly related to the needs students and the objectives to be achieved. Thank you very much for patiently watching the video and don't forget to subscribe.